All right. Welcome back to another episode of Gym Philosophy in the afternoon. We are in it to win it today, guys, talking about the four most crucial things you must learn to actually make your D&D games good. I'm going to check my audio real quick. I see some people in the chat already. Thank you for that thumbs up, guys. Drop me a note. Let me know if my audio is working okay. Then I can avoid having to check it for myself. Talking about crucial secrets to making your D&D games massively successful. I'm gonna check this real quick. All right, I think we're good to go, guys. I think the audio is rolling. Let me know if you encounter any audio problems. Drop me a note. Let me know because I don't always monitor it. Got 8 people in the chat already. Heck yeah, thank you so much. It is so great to see everybody. I appreciate all of you so much. And I want to, you can hear me. Okay, awesome. Dirty Socks. Live stream crew rolling out. Got Dirty Socks in the chat. How's it going, Dirty Socks? We got Herminator. Heck yeah. Haven't seen you a bit. Herminator. Your tabletop audit episode is in the queue, my friend. I'm going to get to work on it. I think next week I'll be dropping some episodes of that. Thank you so much for running that awesome game. I still think about it. I still have the file right at the top of my video list. We're going to work on it soon. So I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for everything you do. We got some people in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button. Drop your comments. Say hi. If you're new here to the chat, drop a comment. Say new. I'll introduce myself. Dirty Socks says, hit that thumbs up, y'all. Welcome back, Hermie. Heck yeah, welcome back. So today we're talking about the four most crucial secrets to running successful D&D games. Now, I'm going to ask you for your input for this. I want to hear what everyone else thinks about this, but I'm going to go ahead and go right into it. Dropping right away, number one. What is the number one most crucial secret to running successful D&D games? So the first actual secret is to get started. Okay. But we're going to assume you've already gotten started. Okay. But what I think is the next most important thing, I think this is the most important thing. Now, I'm tempted to say consistency. That is an incredibly powerful secret, but we've already talked about that in past episodes. So I want to go a little level deeper than that. I don't want to talk so much about calendar consistency. What I want to talk about is longevity consistency. And what do we need for that? Here's what we need. And here's the first most crucial secret. You need to not judge yourself too much. I think this is one of the most destructive things a GM can do. If they judge themselves too much, they're never going to succeed. They're going to give up. They're going to get frustrated. They're going to feel bad about themselves. I really think so. Dirty Sock says, don't forget to join the Discord channel where we discuss awesome TTRPG topics, run monthly creation contests to help flex those brain muscles. And obviously our free e-magazine with awesome stuff is in there. Yes, absolutely. Join the Discord. We are so close to hitting 600. By the end of chat today, let's hit 600 members in the Discord. Let's do it. Also, guys, I want to let you know that I'm selling my best ebook ever, The Advanced Art of TTRPG Game Mastery, Deep Philosophy, Insights, and Tactics for the Experienced GM. Guys, I have a goal now. My new goal is I want to sell at least one ebook every day. If you haven't bought one yet, do me a favor because I have not yet sold a copy today. Buy one, help me reach my goal. Help me keep the lights on in the office, guys. Help me keep the heat running in the cold. My toes get cold, guys. Help me keep the heat on. Do me a favor. Link is in the description. Pick up a copy if you haven't. You will love it. It's going to help you make your games better. I get rave reviews on this. All right. So number one most crucial secret to running a successful D&D game is not to judge yourself too harshly. I really believe this is true. Here's what happens if you start judging yourself, guys. You're going to start to want to give up. You're going to start to doubt yourself. And this is going to hurt your games. This is going to make you perform at less than efficient, optimal power because you're going to go into the games thinking, oh no, do I have what it takes? Oh no, I'm going to mess up. And then it's going to ping your creativity. It's going to ping your ability to have fun, guys. I think this is the first, doubtlessly, the most crucial secret to running games. And that leads me to number two. I'm going to jump right into it. What's the second most crucial secret to running successful D&D games? You as a GM have to have fun. Yes, we can all get better at the rules. Yes, we can all like control. Yes, we can all get better at all of the things that make games good. But if you do not have fun with it, I don't care if you're running paid games, free games. I don't care if you're running games for your dog. I don't care if you're running games for your chickens. I don't care if you're running games for your imaginary friends. If you are not having fun running the game, playing the game, helping to co-create the story. This is, how can I say this? I'm trying to say this with the gravity that it deserves. If you are not having fun, enjoying it, engaged in the activity, then you are not going to be engaging in it for the soul of the creation of the art. And if you are not hitting that mark, everyone's going to feel it. You're going to feel it. It is crucial, crucial, crucial that you hit that mark of having fun creating. And once you do that, everything else is going to get so much better. Even if you make mistakes, it's going to get so much better. Everything's going to be so much better. Crossart, welcome to the chat, live stream crew. This is not Jam Philosopher saying don't judge yourself at all. Self-reflection is the key to growth. Yes, it is. You're 100% right. What I'm talking about is don't judge yourself out of having fun and out of the hobby, because this is unsustainable. You have to give yourself grace. Judge yourself in the sense that you do a good-natured, positive evaluation of yourself. This is very important, but you're right. You don't want to not judge yourself at all. You want to self-reflect. You want to grow. We want to evolve. Every single game should be better. I've been running games for 24 years, but I still want every single game to be better than the last one. This is so important. If I do not continue to improve at the craft, what are we doing here? But this is for everything in life. You want to get better at your relationships. You want to get better at your friendships. You want to get better at dating. You want to get better at making money. You want to get better at like dressing fashionably. I imagine I would love to get better at dressing a little fashionably. I would love to get better at like organizing my house and decorating it. I am not an interior decorator, guys. I need help. I need help with this. I need to get better. AWOL Warrior says, the pressure to perform for the table can make it easy to forget that you're supposed to be enjoying yourself as well. Very well said. This happens all too much. Too much. I want you all to drop me a comment. Let me know what you think the number 3 most crucial secret to running successful games is. I'm going to read your input, and if I agree with you, I will let you know. And that may become point number 3, but I need actual crucial secrets to success. So drop your best advice. Let's see if it makes it into the top 4. I've already dropped 2 secrets. We have 2 left. We have about 50 more minutes to get those in there. Drop your comments. Crossheart says communication. Ooh, communication. I feel like that's close. I feel like that's one ingredient of a 3rd secret, but it's part of it. It's a bigger thing. Communication is part of it. It's so close, but I don't think communication alone is the thing, because I'm going to tell you what, even if you're not the best communicator, you can still succeed at running awesome games, but you have to work at it harder. AWOL Warrior says, always make the players think it was part of your plan. That's so close. You know what? That is part of the 4th secret. I'm going to write these down. I'm going to write it down. I'll remember them. That is part of it. But once again, I feel like that's part of a bigger thing. There's a bigger overarching thing that governs that. What is it? You two have really touched on it. You've touched on 2 different points that could be crucial, but I don't think those points alone are what make successful D&D games or successful TTRPGs. But keep dropping them, because that is serious value, and we're getting closer to the true secrets of it. If you are new here, drop new, introduce yourself. Let me meet you. If the YouTube algorithm brought you here for the first time and you've never been to this channel before, welcome. Drop your comments. Let's hear what you have to say. I want to hear what you're playing. I want to hear what you're running, what challenges you've been having. Let's talk about it, guys. We have some time today. I'm very fortunate, blessed to have time to chat, to engage with the community. And today we already have so many more people in the chat than usual. We are making progress here today. So make sure you do that. Bedern6552 says new. Bedern, it is great to meet you. Welcome to the chat. Tell me what you're running. Are you a game master or a player? Tell me what you've been doing. I want to hear about what you've been having going on at your gaming table. Do you game virtually? Do you game in person? This is another thing I want to hear. I want to hear how many players you have in your games. We've been talking a lot lately about how many people you have at your games, but also whether you're running virtually or in person, because this is very important information. If you are running virtually, it's going to be harder to have more players. So if you drop in and you say, I've got 27 players in my game, I'm going to want to know, is this virtual or is this in person? This is a big difference. Badern says, I'm a DM. In 30 minutes, I'll have my session 0 with my old school friends. They have never played before. Any tips? Oh, yes. Run in session 0. Have not been in it for years. Getting ready to jump right back in. Session 0. Are you running a homebrew world state, or are you playing in a published world? What system are you playing, my friend? Are you running D&D 5e 2024, or are you old school? Running something AD&D 3rd edition. Okay, homebrew world. Got you. Okay, my first tip for session 0 is this. 5e. Okay, we're running 5e. My first tip for session 0 is this. It's really important that you and your players talk about, like, not only what kind of game everyone wants to play, but what kind of things they want to accomplish with their characters. And that could include they don't know and they're open to exploring. That is a valid answer, but it's important to know if that's the answer, right? So, for example, I one time had a player, one of my favorite players of all time, who was playing a rogue, and he specifically told me, in this campaign, I want to run like a charlatan. I wanted to be a scam artist. I wanted to do forgery. I want to do like scams and scam people. Like, this was important to him. And I tried really hard to fit that into the game. But had he not told me that up front, I would not have known to make that a feature of the game. And here's what's important. You say you'll have session 0 with your old school friends. This is different than running a paid game. When you're running a paid game, when you're running a game for strangers, something like that, you want to generally have your concept, but then you're going to invite people into your concept. So it's really important that you be clear about your concept. But if it's for your homies, man, maybe a more pressing priority is this. What kind of game do you all want to play together? Because playing together is the priority, not playing the specific concept you want. So make sure that you and your homies come to an understanding about what kind of game you all want to play together, because playing together is more important than the base concept. So that's a huge thing for session 0. I think is very important. And when you're playing with your friends, this is even more important. Dirty Socks says, ask them what they are excited about or looking forward to. Absolutely great. Crossheart says, ask them the type of campaign you want to run. When they think up characters, ask them where they want or think their characters will end. That's actually a really good question, because some of them may say, I envision becoming a king, or some of them might say, I envision really exploring the concepts of good versus evil, and maybe eventually I want to end up as a paladin serving a god, but which god is a mystery, right? So they're going to be different. They're going to be different goals and different concepts of goals. Some goals are they're very specific. Like, I want to be the lord of a castle, but some are very based on what will happen. Like, at some point, I think I want to be like an angelic servant to some god, but I don't know which one, right? So this is more of a moral goal, but it's still a goal. And some players want to focus on that. What is the theme of their character? This is important too. Dirty Socks says, Badern says, smart. I'll ask them about that, actually. Heck yeah, that's awesome. Dirty Socks says, optimize the ideal TTRPG situation in your prep while running the game in between games. Yeah, absolutely. Optimize the ideal TTRPG situation. That's very interesting to say. Dirty Socks, I'd like to hear more about that. When you say optimize the ideal TTRPG situation, it sounds like making sure that there are situations in the sessions that match up with the kind of story the players want to tell about their characters. I think this is very important. Crossart says, if you start with an idea for the end of the character's run, it can inform the journey. So this is true, though I will say that brings to mind a caution. We want to be careful not to pigeonhole players and characters. I don't think there's much risk of that. I think you would have to really work hard to pigeonhole a player. It would be easier to do with a quieter player, but it could be done. We just want to be careful to give players the freedom to tell the story organically. In Crossheart, I don't think you're saying that in a pigeonhole kind of way. That's just a caution that comes to mind when I hear that advice. But that advice is very good in that it can inform what kind of sessions you want to run, what kind of situations, what kind of moral quandaries, what kind of adventures you want to put in front of your players. Dirty Sock says, It was follow up on the earlier advice when determined what they are looking forward to incorporate into your prep. Ah, yes, no, totally. What are they looking forward to in the game so you can optimize the ideal situations? Very excellent advice. Badern is doing it right, dropping an introduction, introducing themselves, getting into the community. Is there anyone else new in the chat? Drop the word new so you can introduce yourself and we can get to know you. Let's become friends. We want to be friends here. This community is a lot about friendship. It's a lot about community. It's a lot about sharing information, but also sharing experiences and getting support. I made a video. My video coming out tomorrow is about 5 things to do after the session's done. One of those things is don't judge yourself too much. Give yourself a pat on the back. GMs don't usually get the gratitude they deserve, guys. They don't usually get the gratitude they deserve from their players. I'm not trying to say that I'm mad at players about this, because after you're done with an emotional 3, 4, or 5 hour session, you may not have the emotional energy, or you may not even think about giving the GM a bunch of positive feedback and making them feel good, fluffing up their ego a little bit, right? That may not be predominant of mind for you. But I think that GMs can give themselves this feedback. And this was part of my video, was talking about how it's important for us to give ourselves that feedback if we need it, that positive feedback, not to be too hard on yourself. Make sure that you know that if you showed up consistently and you gave it your best and you actually cared, you're doing better at running games than most humans do at most things. Think about that. If you show up like relatively on time and you actually care about what you're doing and you actually did your best, you are doing better at running games than most humans do at most things they do. Let me tell you this right now. Those of you who are management or middle management or even work with other people in your professional career, you might know exactly what I'm talking about. Do the people you work with or the people that work on your teams or whatever, do they actually show up on time, actually care about what's going on, and or actually do their best every time? The answer is probably no, unless you're in a real different job than the kind of jobs I've been in. If you go higher up the professional ladder and you get to work with people who are more passionate, your answer may be more yes to that. I have worked in those environments. It has been more rare. Usually humans just kind of do a thing because they want the benefits of it, not because they're chasing excellence. Crossart says, what you put into something determines what you get out of it. 100%, 100%. When you give your best, you can expect to reap the best that those other people have to give. And this is we're going to go back to another piece of advice that I used to talk a lot about, but I'm going to bring it back up now. If you vet your players correctly, you have to vet the value and the quality of the people you're playing with. Badern is playing in 30 minutes, well, now probably 20 minutes, session 0 with his old school friends. He's already vetted his friends. He already knows who he's gaming with. But to most GMs, I give you a challenge. Do you actually vet and measure the value of the players at your table? Because one bad apple can really bring the game down for others, even if it doesn't do it for you. But then again, being a GM is a position of kind of like power privilege. It's harder for a player to ruin the game for us than for other players. Other players don't have the same power the GM has. The GM has the power to summon the meta magic monster, the metagame monster, to stomp out the bad apples. They can also ban players from their table, but other players don't have that opportunity. They can petition to the rest of the group to say, hey, I don't like what's going on. Let's stop it. But they don't have the direct power to do it. So it's a little sometimes more difficult to be a player, but it's also more difficult to be a GM in the sense that there's a higher labor curve, right? Crossart says, even as a DM, if you half-ass your prep, your session may be lackluster, but if you plan the session to promote the characters, then everyone enjoys it more. That's actually really good advice. Okay, if you plan your session to promote the characters, I love this advice, and that I think is magic, and here's why. If you empower your players to push the narrative, if you empower them to take the spotlight and to actually create the story, because as a GM, your duties are actually relatively minimal, but we sometimes think we have to do more. We just have to set up our players to do the best they can. We have to set up our players with a great setting, put great NPCs around them, put just a villain in front of them that they can love to hate, that they can get emotionally charged up about, and then just turn them loose, let them push the narrative. We don't need a story. The players are going to create the story. We just have to keep the map and the world circumstances populated around them with energy and with creativity. This is what we need to do. Crossheart is speaking about this right now. You know, if you plan the session to promote the characters, then everyone enjoys it more. Players don't show up to the game, and you know this. I'm preaching to the choir right now. Everyone in the chat knows this, but we obviously don't show up to write a book in verbal form and just make the players listen to it. We all know that that's not what we're doing. But sometimes we forget that we don't have to push the story. Sometimes we have to move in and control pacing. This might mean progressing the story by a leap, by ushering in an outside event, but that's different than thinking we have to come up with story arc. We don't have to come up with a story arc. We come up with situations, we come up with complications, we come up with interesting world events that the players may come across, and then they get to decide how they interact with them. And that's what creates the story. Red Flag Reflections says, running Curse of the Crimson Throne Pathfinder 1E in person, 3 players. Welcome, Red Flag. I think you're new. I don't think I've seen your name pop up in the chat. Forgive me, my memory isn't what it used to be. But I don't think I've met you. And if so, welcome to the chat, my friend. Running Curse of the Crimson Throne Pathfinder 1E. I played a Pathfinder 1E game one time. I played it, and I played it with a GM, and I regret to say this. I played it with a GM that I ultimately did not like, and I quit 3 sessions in. He set up the game brilliantly, but then that game was, I think it was a crap show. I think that he wanted to create the story he wanted, and he was trying to push everyone into his narrative. I did not enjoy it. I felt like I had no player agency. I quit that game. I quit that game faster than any other game I've ever. I think it's the only game I've actually ever quit because I thought the GM was doing a bad job. He legitimately made me angry. It made me angry to play in that game. So I quit. But I think Pathfinder is a cool system, and I liked it. They did a lot of interesting things in Pathfinder 1E. I think they handled skill proficiency better than they were doing in D&D 3E, if I remember correctly. I was playing 3rd edition hardcore at that time. That was when I had first gotten my feet wet with 3rd edition, and I became addicted. I became addicted to the habit. So Red Flag, welcome. In person, 3 players. Heck yeah. Metal. I love it. Crossheart says, I plan each session with 2 goals in mind. Progress the story in some way, either main story or characters, and make the players' characters feel awesome, impactful. And that's awesome. Make the players' characters feel awesome and impactful, I think, is basically something we should try to do. I think to myself, I try to do this once per scene or once per session. Every session, I try to do one main scene that highlights one of the characters. I try. I will admit I get better at this as I go. It's still sometimes a challenge, but it is totally doable, and I think we should try to do it. And then progress. You plan on each session to progress the story in some way, either main story or characters. This is also a good idea. I find that this happens very organically. I'm sure this probably happens organically for you as well. I'm just saying that what comes to my mind when I hear that advice is that it usually happens very organically because the players will push it if they're interested enough in it. But then again, what is the main story? The main story is what the characters are pushing toward. It may not be, and this is the challenge, it may not be the main story that we thought they were going to chase. It may be a different story, which I'm all about, and I love that. But that's also a sandboxy thing. I love sandbox games. Sometimes players think they want a sandbox, and then they get overwhelmed by choice. That's a real problem. The sandbox jams don't talk about that. That's a truth that's hard to accept. Dirty Socks says, creating a safe space for players where fantasy of players are exploited is an environment which I prefer to have the most fun and players as well. A safe space where the fantasy of the players is exploited. Do you mean? I think you mean explored, but I think I see what you're saying. Creating the space where players feel like they can actually explore the fantasy they want for their characters is massively important. I think it's huge. Crossheart says, agreed. Don't be married to the DM's idea of the story. Let the players tell the story in the world you provide. Absolutely. And the truth is, it's probably going to be the same story you had in mind. Red Flag Reflection says, pretty new, just bought your ebook yesterday. Thank you so much, Red Flag. I hope that it brings you a ton of value. I hope you love it. I truly wrote it with passion from the bottom of my heart, trying to put the things that I wish I would have known in a book when I first started running games, especially when I started getting more intermediate. But I struggled in that intermediate stage for a long time. I struggled with things like emotional resonance. Sometimes I would hit on it by accident, but I didn't learn the importance of some of these things until later. And now, I mean, I'm in a whole nother chapter of learning about emotional resonance and things because now running VTTs mostly exclusively, you've got to know your game, man, because you can get away with things in person that you can't get away with on VTT because it's so much easier to lose players on VTT. Why? Because in person, there's more glue to hold the group together. On VTTs, it's just, man, it's just the game. And then they are in their own space. They're not even coming into a space with you. You're not even sharing space together. You're just virtually connecting. So it's a whole different ball game. I feel like it's making me a better GM running on virtual, though I will admit I kind of prefer in person. With that being said, guys, make sure you check out my ebook, The Advanced Art of TTRPG Game Mastery, Deep Philosophy, Insights, and Tactics for the Experienced GM. Link is in the description. Help me out, guys. I have a goal this month. I'm trying to sell at least one copy of my ebook every day to help me fund the channel, keep the lights on in this place, right? It's cold in Missouri sometimes. I want to keep my toes warm, guys. I want to run my heater every day. Help me fund the channel and the mission, empowering game masters run better games, by purchasing a copy. If you haven't grabbed it, consider doing it. It's still available for a low introductory price. I really appreciate everyone. So far in the month of March, I have sold a copy for every day. This has been so amazing. And I'm so grateful. And I thank you. And this makes me feel so amazing and it's so much fun and awesome. However, today, I have not yet sold a copy, unless someone bought one since we started this live stream. But I petition you, consider grabbing it if you're at all interested. If you can't afford it, that's okay. Just hit that thumbs up button instead. That's still amazing support. I'm just letting you know that's my goal, and you could help me with it today. Thank you so much. Anyway, with that being said, let's talk about the third most crucial secret to running successful D&D games. Crossheart got close when he said communication, right? Got really close. An AWOL warrior said, always make the players think it was part of your plan. This is another crucial, close part of it. But I think that those are part of a deeper thing. Crossheart said communication. I would actually say it's emotional intelligence. And communication is part of emotional intelligence. I think if you can be emotionally intelligent, and this means a lot of things, but it means paying attention to how your players are feeling, paying attention to their energy, paying attention to the things they seem to care about, noticing when their energy dips a little bit, or noticing what really lifts them up, and then playing with those things. If I hit on something that really excites one of my players, then I know, we're going in the right direction. But what if I say something and I notice it deflates one of my players and they're like, like it kind of disappoints them? I know we're going in the wrong direction. But what if I wasn't paying attention to any of that? What if I wasn't paying any attention? Or maybe what if I didn't understand it? Maybe after the session, I message them and I say, hey, I had a feeling that you seemed a bit deflated by that thing that happened. Can you explain that to me? I don't understand, what happened. I want to know. Maybe then they explain it to you and you think, you learned something about what they want to do with their character, and you not intentionally were like getting in the way of it. I think that this is where emotional intelligence comes in, because TTRPGs are they're such a social, intellectual, creative exercise. We have to interface with other humans successfully to make it happen successfully. We have to really read people. We have to actually care about each other. If we don't do that, we're going to face negative consequences. The game is going to take a downward turn. People are not going to feel like they're a part of the experience. They're not going to feel that intimacy. So when we are emotionally intelligent during the game, trying to understand, trying to have empathy, trying to care about the experience of everyone else at the table, this is definitely going to boost the value of the table. And even if you make rules mistakes, even if you do things that don't seem super consistent within the game framework, even if you are not incredibly prepared and you have to improvise in a messy fashion. Even if you don't remember all the names of the NPCs, you have to rename them because you don't remember their names. Not that I've ever done that. Just kidding. I've done that a lot. Um, Even if you do these things, at least you'll be paying attention to the fun of the game and the energy levels of your fellow gamers, and this will help you to be a better GM. This will really help you. So I would encourage everyone to explore emotional intelligence and to try to leverage it at your games. Okay. In fact, I'm going to look up the actual definition of emotional intelligence. Okay, emotional intelligence, the capacity to be aware of, control, and express one's emotions, and to handle interpersonal relationships judiciously and empathetically. That's the dictionary definition. Love it. And I think that this is number 3, the third most crucial secret to running a successful D&D game. I can't talk today. I've already filmed 2 long-form videos today, so my talker is almost broken. It's almost worn out from all the talking I've already done today. And I'm a talkative dude. Anyway, with that being said, I want to hear what you think. What is the 4th most crucial secret to running a successful D&D game? Drop your comment, drop your vote. Let me know. Also hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button. Help give me some YouTube juice, guys. Help me to advance my goals on YouTube and to get YouTube to push my videos a little bit more. Every thumbs up helps. And if you're new here, drop the word new in the comments. Introduce yourself. I've already gotten to know Bedern and Red Flag Reflections better because they dropped their names in the comments. They said new. Great to meet you. I'm going to look for you now every day during live stream because now you're part of the live stream crew. And we're going to build on this community, make it bigger and better for everybody. Also, if you have ideas for content, drop that. I'm always interested in that. And I want to know what you're doing. Drop me what you're running. Drop me your questions. Do you have a hot take you want me to react to? Drop that. I'm here to hang out, here to be a part of the community, help make your Tuesday better. AWOL Warrior says, letting your players know snacks equals inspiration. Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh. I'm going to tell you what, when people bring me food, it's like true love, right? That's like true love. I appreciate them so much. I love it when players bring me snacks. I love it when players bring me drinks. I love them so much. It's like, you're my favorite now. You get a heroic inspiration just for bringing me snacks. Okay, so Crossheart says, number 3, let the players determine the story. Okay. Let the players determine the story. This is player agency. This is very, very this is really, really close to being a crucial secret. In fact, I think what you're touching on is let players have agency. And I think that, I have to say, I think that is, we've already covered number 3, but I think that might be number 4. So we may need 5 because I know there's one more that we haven't talked about. But I think give players agency might be number 5. I really think so, because if you don't give your players agency, then what are we doing here? We've already talked about this a little bit, but we're not here to write a novel to throw at our players. We're here to see what kind of story we tell together. It's unknown. This is what ephemeral art is. I don't know if you know, but I'm going to read you the definition of ephemeral art. Let me know what you think. I think TTRPGs are a perfect example of intellectual ephemeral art. In art, ephemeral refers to works that are temporary, fleeting, and not intended to last, emphasizing transience in the experience of the moment, okay? Ephemeral art is defined by its temporary and transitory nature, often created with materials that naturally decay or are impermanent, like spoken creative ideas, okay? Some examples of this are like sand castles, ice sculptures, like piles of leaves, floral decorations made with real flowers, or even light projections or digital media, right? It's like Burning Man. People go to Burning Man, they experience the art, but then they burn it at the end. It's ephemeral. It's fleeting. It's not going to exist forever. It's temporary, and therein you find some of the value. TTRPGs are the same way. We create together, and yes, you may even record the session and watch it back later, but that's different than the act of creating it. In my session on Monday, I laughed harder than I've laughed in a long time at some of just the craziness that went on. It was so much, it brought me so much joy. It was such raw, pure joy to create with those players. So much fun. Um, so I think player agency, giving players agency, is definitely number 4 of the most crucial secrets to running D&D games successfully. Red Flag's reflection says, I enjoyed dropping gossip about fishermen, finding a body in a barrel at low tide after the players had dumped a bad guy the night before. That is really clever, actually. I really love that. Crossheart says, I love giving my players updates on the results of their actions. Sometimes the NPCs don't know it was them. Sometimes they recognize their work. That is so much fun. And Crossheart also says it helps the world feel alive. It does. One thing I love to do is that when players play in multiple campaigns of mine, because it's always like in chronological order, players who played in my Bearlands games, like they did things up in the north that now there are rumors about down in the south. Now I have 2 players who played in that campaign playing in one of my campaigns in the Darkest Dawn, which, by the way, if you want to play in one of my games, check out my start playing listings down in the description. But now they're hearing like, oh, you should have heard what went on up north. There are rumors that there were people up there and this and that. And it's really fun for them to hear rumors about their other characters who were in that last campaign. I also love to do that. That's so much fun. I love dropping those little pieces of lore created by the characters. So there we've established it. The 4 most crucial secrets to running successful D&D games. But are there more? What would you call a crucial secret? Drop your comments. Let me know. I would love to hear what you think. I think that we're definitely very close to having a 5th one, because there's one in my mind I'm going to share here in a little bit. Crossheart says, this is how legends start, and we are those legends. Wow, that is an epic quote. Did you just quote that? Is that a Crossheart quote? Because that's an epic quote, man. This is how legends start, and we are those legends. See, that's part of what makes this hobby so special. You know, we have to go through so much crap in this life, man. We got to pay these bills, and we got to pay these taxes. We have to pay the stupid car insurance. Imagine, being sent to the planet by the divine creator, if you believe in that kind of thing. And then imagine them saying, go and become a legend. And then you get here and you're paying stupid car insurance. You're spending 4 hours trying to decide which stupid car insurance company to buy from, because you have to have it because of stupid. That's how I feel about car insurance. No offense to those of you in the chat who sell car insurance. I appreciate you, because I want professionals to tell me what the hell is going on, because I literally, I hate it. I hate reading about it. I hate researching it. I hate paying for it. I hate having to use it if I need to use it. Hate not having it because of the trouble it can cause you. It's just, you know what I'm saying? There's so many things in life that I think get in the way of experiencing true bliss and happiness. Car insurance is one of them. Crossheart says, I just feel like that's why we play games like D&D. I agree. That is why we play games like D&D. And part of the magic of it is that we get to experience it with other humans who also understand it. It's different than playing a video game. When you play video games, it's just all kind of by yourself. And then you have the cold code of the AI and the graphics and the system on the other side. That's all it is. But when you're playing with other humans and you all have stake in it, this makes it more important, I think. I think that's what gives TTRPGs their appeal, right? Now, with that being said, hit that thumbs up button. Drop me a comment. If you're new here, drop new. Introduce yourself. I want to get to know you. Already gotten to know several new people today. Red Flag Reflections and Badern are part of the live stream crew now, like it or not. That's just what's going on. Also, make sure to grab my book, The Advanced Art of TTRPG Game Mastery. 50 pages, basically sharing my deep philosophy, tactics, and insights from 24 years of running games. Have not sold a copy yet today. Please help me with my goal of selling at least 1 copy of my book every day in the month of March to help me keep the lights on. Guys, I got to keep the lights on in the office. I don't want to get my toes cold in here. My dogs need dog food. My poor dogs, they need, they're very hungry doggies. They want their dog snacks. Help fund the mission here by helping me with my goal of trying to sell 1 ebook every day. I appreciate you. And everyone who has purchased one of my ebooks, I just really appreciate you. I see every single purchase, and every single one makes me happy and warms my heart. Thank you so much for all of your contributions. And I truly believe this book is amazing and will help you run better sessions. I really do. I really packed the value into those 50 pages. I spent a long time writing it. All right. Now, Crossheart says, I always wanted to change the world like Aragorn while bickering with friends like Legolas and Gimli. Yes, that is actually true. We do want to change the world. We want to have significance. We want to have impact. We want to make a difference. This is part of the existential dread, right? Imagining, I have all these thoughts. I have all these things I care about. There's so much that matters to me. But is it meaningless? Is it useless? Does it not matter? How do we define what matters? This is where existential dread is born, right? When you grew up like me and you watch movies like Land Before Time and All Dogs Go to Heaven and Secret of Nim, and then you come into life and you realize, oh my God, maybe nothing matters. Maybe this is all futile and useless. That's when the existential dread kicks in. For the record, I don't believe that. I believe that we have the ability to create purpose for ourselves in this life. I think we have the ability to create value and to make a significant difference. We have the ability to make our lives meaningful and to create significance, and we can define significance as things that matter to others. I think humans are important. I love humanity. I want to give to other humans. I want to give to the human experience. And that's part of why I do this, because I believe TTRPGs, even though it might seem like a small thing sometimes, it's not a small thing when you're in it and having so much fun. Having fun, creating stories is actually important. And stories also help us to understand life. This is my Jordan Peterson is showing. Stories help us to explain life. They help us to explain ourselves to ourselves. They help us to understand our own journey. They help us to make sense of the madness sometimes. At least they do for me. And I feel like other gamers probably feel similar. There is an element of madness to this life, guys. There's an element of madness to it. And engaging in storytelling can help us to sometimes bring elements from our life into the fiction and play with them, stretch them, twist them, sometimes break them all together and see what that feels like, see what it's like. And then sometimes this results in us learning about ourselves, learning about others, learning about life itself, right? Crossheart says, sorry for spam. You're not spamming. I love it when people drop comments. Someone help this man. Drop some comments. Crossheart is doing all the heavy lifting in the chat right now, guys. Help this person. Ask some questions. Drop your hot takes. Let's keep the conversation going. Crossheart says, question for GM. Last night, my players' characters were talking around the campfire about each other's backstories, getting invested in each other's pasts and goals. I wanted so badly to let it keep going, but after an hour of this, I had to cut them off and progress the story to the next day in order to get things moving. Did I make a mistake? With only 3 hours max to play, I have to be mindful about time. And several of my players' favorite parts of D&D is combat, not RP. This is a very good question. Okay, so is this a mistake? If the role play is flowing, is it better as a GM to let it flow, even if it takes up the whole session? Even if it takes the whole session. And then you end the session, and then you had no combat, the story didn't get progressed, but you had all this. So this is what I call human art. Sometimes you have things that happen in a game that may not, from the outside objectively, seem to progress the game or add to the story, blah, 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 blah. But they are so valuable from a human art perspective that you can't really quantify that, right, with any traditional metrics. But at the same time, too much human art dilutes the experience to a point, because you're right. If human art is taking the place of combat, if it's taking the place of, immersion, discovery, finding new things, exploring, right? At what point is there too much human art? And then players, and this is another thing, players might enjoy that in the moment, but sometimes they don't realize if it's going on too long, and then they can end up disappointed in the session because nothing happened, even though they could have pushed for something to happen. They didn't because they didn't know to do it, or sometimes didn't feel like they had the power to do it. This is very complicated territory. So, Crossheart, my official answer is I am probably more likely to let those things go on longer than most GMs would. So, you say you let that RP go, you let them have that spotlight for an hour. Personally, I think you made the right decision. If you don't kind of make a stopping point and progress the story, then you might be in danger of letting the human art run too far and then creating something that is so like niche that it's not going to be enjoyable to everyone. It's like movies. You ever watch movies where they're just so artsy and you think to yourself, I kind of like the art, but God, I want something to happen. Like, do you ever watch a movie like that? There are movies like that. And I tend to like those quirky human art kind of movies. But at the same time, there are moments where you're like, come on, just do something. You ever watch The Bear? Okay, so The Bear is a show about a chef on Hulu, and it's known for its kind of awkwardly long segments of uncut dialogue. These segments don't do really much to progress the story sometimes, but they do get you acquainted with the characters more. And that sets you up emotionally for these emotional scenes of the characters. It's very different from how most shows do it. But and it's good, I like it. But sometimes even I am like, come on, get to the next scene. I want to see the next crazy thing that happens. So human art really deepens the experience, but it's like a little goes a long way. So Crossheart, in my opinion, I believe you did the right thing. I think that putting a stopping point on it, moving to the next scene is probably something your players are thankful for, even if they were enjoying it. See, two things can exist at the same time. They might enjoy the backstory conversation, but they might also enjoy getting to the combat and be glad it happened. So there's my answer. Really good question. Deep GM insight question. If you are new here, drop a comment. Say new. Let's get to know each other. I want to meet you. If the YouTube algorithm brought you here, let's get to know each other, become friends, guys. This is about community building, and it is about getting to know each other and deepening our love and our knowledge of the craft. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Help me to grow my channel. Give me some algorithm juice today. I really appreciate you. Now, we're talking about the four most crucial secrets to running successful D&D games. I'm about to drop number 5. We've already established 4 of them. And it was AWOL Warrior who touched on what I think the 5th one is. AWOL Warrior said, and now I got to scroll way up, always make the players think it was part of your plan, which is close. But I think that we're going to take that a step further for the 5th most crucial secret. And this is it. Be willing to improvise, even if you are bad at it. There's an element of the game to where we cannot prep for everything. And this is a magical part of the game, especially if you're running sandboxy stuff, which I love. I love the sandbox. I love going more towards sandbox, giving players free reign to do whatever they want. But we have to be ready to improvise if that happens. Some GMs are not as comfortable with improvisation. I do understand this. Here's my answer. Improvise anyway. Do it badly. Let it be kind of terrible, but do it. Because when you free yourself to not feel like you have to keep the game on guardrails, you open up a whole new element of magic to your games, which is giving the players even more agency over what direction they want to go in. And then a lot of times you can prep things for improv. You might prep 3 or 4 encounters so that when they go off the beaten path, you make little adjustments and throw that encounter in there. This is also improv. You're just doing it a little in advance. But also be willing to improv in the moment. Sometimes a thing happens, and this is how it works for me. I think to myself, no, here's what they see. But I did not prep this. I didn't think about it at all before. But that's what the inspiration brings me. And we roll with it. Maybe I've gotten better at drawing maps in my virtual tabletop on Owlbear Rodeo because of this exact thing. Sometimes things happen and I think I need to be able to draw this. And I've gotten better at using the markers in the VTT to draw my maps because it's like you just have to. There's no way sometimes to just create all these maps on the go and blah, blah, blah. And that's okay. Low def and bad improv is better than keeping your prepped content as the guardrails for what the players are allowed to do. That's my opinion. Do you think I'm wrong? Drop a comment. Let me know. I would love to hear your opinion on that, but I think I'm right. And I think that this is so important that it is the fifth most crucial secret to running a successful D&D game. I really believe this. Crossart says, going back to the beginning of the stream, don't be afraid to improvise. Just do it. Then look back after and learn from what went well or what didn't. I agree. Do not be afraid to improvise. And I'm even going to keep saying this. Don't even be afraid of improvising terribly. Sometimes when you improvise terribly at first, players might laugh. They literally might laugh, but this is not a mean laugh. This is a part of the magic of the game is the absurdity of the spontaneity of it, right? Absurdity is an important element in philosophy, guys. I'm going to define absurdity as it pertains to philosophy and TTRPGs. Okay. Absurdity in philosophy refers to the idea that life is inherently meaningless and devoid of purpose. Here we go with the existential stuff again, right? Often stemming from the conflict between human despair for meaning and the world's lack thereof. This concept is particularly explored by Albert Camus, who argued that the absurd arises from our innate desire to find a unified explanation for the universe, leading to a sense of frustration and confusion. Does this sound like improvising in your TTRPGs? Because you may very well be truly experiencing absurdity. In role-playing games, absurdity can be a thematic element that challenges players to confront the inherent contradictions and irrationality of their experiences. It often involves characters grappling with the absurdity of their circumstances, leading to existential crises and the search for meaning amongst chaos. Sounds like improv to me. This theme is prevalent in various TTRPGs where players may encounter situations that seem illogical or nonsensical, such as when you improvise nonsensical things because you're doing it terribly, but you're still doing it, prompting the characters to then reflect on the nature of their existence and the meaning of their actions. We can derive meaning from simply encountering the absurd. And I believe players do this. Players may chuckle when you improvise something terribly, but they're not actually chuckling at you because they think you're doing a bad job. They're chuckling because it's absurd. But then good role players, and in my experience, 90% of role players do this, they will eventually derive deeper meaning from their encounter with the absurd. Thus, it becomes serious, and it becomes a part of their history. It becomes a part of their story, and thus it becomes important. Dirty Sock says, to make mistakes is the start of growth. Looking back on this, you will be grateful if you have embraced and followed this path into the future. In short, do not be scared to improvise. I completely agree with you, Dirty Socks. I completely agree with you. You say eventually growth is next. 100%. Growth is next. And the better you get at improvising, the better, or the more you improvise, the better you get at it. This is 100% true. I believe this 1,000,000% with every fiber of my being. Improvisation is a muscle, but you must grow it through exercise, right? Now, with that being said, hit that thumbs up button. If you're new here, drop me a comment. Say new, introduce yourself. I want to get to know you. Become a part of the live stream crew. Become awesome, like us awesome kids who are here talking about TTRPGs, talking about our favorite stuff, our favorite hobby. Now, I also want to tell you about my ebook, The Advanced Art of TTRPG Game Mastery. 24 years of gaming wisdom packed into 50 pages of my latest ebook, guys. I have a goal in March to sell at least one copy of this every day to help me keep the lights on, help me buy food for my doggies. They get hungry. They're hungry little doggies. They need snacks. Help me keep the lights on, keep my computer running in the month of March, everyone. I'm really, really grateful to everyone who helps support the channel. And if you have not yet purchased my ebook, but you believe in the things I say, I would dare say maybe you should explore grabbing it. Link is in the description. It's available still for a low introductory price, just a couple bucks. Basically the same price as a cup of coffee at Starbucks, and you could literally get the deepest insights from my 20 plus years of gaming, maybe make your next game better. Okay, so, and help me reach my goal. I appreciate you all so much. If you don't have anything to contribute financially, that's okay. smack that thumbs up button, and that helps me a lot as well. Flip Out says, what can players do to assist the GMs in creating a better story? I get a lot of conflicting information about this. This is actually a really good question. Okay, here's what I think about the number one thing I think players can do, which, by the way, Flip Out, great to see you. Flip Out is a player in one of my games on Wednesday evenings, playing The Darkest Dawn, gritty, grimdark sandbox 5e campaign. At the moment, they are fighting against a dragonborn invasion of the continent of Velara. They just recently made a deal with a Fey queen to try to save the township of Alessandria. Super awesome story unfolding in that campaign. Dark, 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 with moments of bright heroism. And Lyra is an amazing part of that story. So Flip Out, great to see you. I always want to give props to my awesome players because they make these stories truly memorable. Now, my favorite thing players can do to help create the better story is this. And there's one thing I wish all players would do more, and that is to basically advocate for yourself loudly and proudly. Okay, so what I would love all of my players to do is I would love for them before the session message me what's important. I actually drop a doc about this that I want players to fill in, but whatever. Tell me what's important during the session. Keep feeling free to tell me what's important. If a player wants to do something, I want them to speak up and jump in and say, "Oh, hold on, GM, I want to do this. Don't don't switch the scene yet. I want to do this." And I'll be so happy. I'll be like, "Oh yeah, what do you want to do?" This is my number one favorite thing, because when players take seriously enough the agency of their own character, what they're doing is they're taking full control over the part of the story that is actually their responsibility, which is their character's story, their character's part in the story. When players don't speak up and advocate for themselves, there's danger of that story getting dropped, that part of the story getting dropped when it could have made it so much more awesome. I love it when players private message me during the game saying, "Hey, I want to do this." I love it when players speak up in the game saying, "Hold on, GM, I want to do this before you switch scenes." I love it when players don't let me go forward, but instead raise their voice and say, "Whoa, whoa, GM, before that happens, I wanted my character to do this." I love it, love it, love it when players do this. In my mind, it's the single best thing players can do to assist the GMs in creating a better story, because the GMs want to know what the players want to do, but sometimes they don't always know what to ask, and they don't always know when to ask. They try their best, but we are imperfect, unfortunately. When the AI algorithms get good enough at GMing, maybe they can accomplish this. But I'm going to tell you what, I don't know that there's much future for a long time in AIs running games, because the shared intellectual art is part of the magic of it. So I think we actually find it special that there's a human imagining along with us. This is the only thing that makes me wonder if GMs could ever be a good GM. I think it'll be a long time before they could ever do this. And it's a human thing. Crossheart says, Flip Out, I ask players what they want to do to their characters, or their characters want to do, and use that to plan future story points. I listen to what they enjoy in the game and feed that, rewarding their investment. 100%, I agree. I also missed a couple comments. Crossheart says, going back to the beginning of the stream, oh no, we already read that one. Dirty Sock said, talking about TTRPGs, which system do you think will embark your future travel into the world of TTRPGs? I'm going to be playing 5e, but I'm going to tell you what, I'm getting ready to drop a bunch of stuff about my homebrew system later this year. I'm going to be playing a lot of gritty noir homebrew kind of superhero-ish stuff coming up pretty soon. Crossheart says, as the DM, I learned to do crazy voices to give the players permission to give their characters unique voices. I love it when people do voices. I love it, love it, love it. I don't care if it's imperfect. I don't care if it's messy. I don't care if it's silly. I think it adds to the game a lot. They don't have to do it, but I love it when people do. Dirty Socks says, if you want to speak up, always do. Otherwise, the chance might be gone. I completely agree. I want players to speak up as much as they want to. I hope that players care enough about a scene that they keep me from moving on for 15 minutes while they wrap up all the things they wanted to do. One after the other. Wait, GM, I want to do this. I love it. I love it so much when players do this, because that means they are literally taking control of the narrative and pushing the story. please do it. Um, Dirty Socks says, do it without regret. If you don't, you might regret. Yeah, Dirty Socks, you're full of good sayings. So like you're saying some actual real stuff today. So is Crossheart actually dropping them quotable bits of wisdom. I love it. Now, make sure that you hit that like button for me, hit that subscribe button for me, drop a comment. We have a couple minutes left. Say new if you're new here. I want to get to know you. I want to hear what kind of games you're playing. I want to get to know you better. Today, we have pretty much, I feel like, pretty successfully crushed the most crucial secrets to running successful D&D games. I love it. And we have gotten to know some new friends, specifically Badern and Red Flag Reflections. Great to meet you and welcome to the community. Welcome to the live stream crew, Flip Outs in the live stream crew. Obviously, Crossheart, Dirty Socks. We have some other names in the chat. We've had several people, AWOL Warrior in the chat, speaking great truth, sharing great insights. Love it. I love to hear from everybody, and I appreciate all of you so much. Don't forget to join GM Philosophy Discord. Links in the description. Make sure that you keep running games, guys. Empowering game masters to run better games is the goal of this channel. And if you haven't done it, make sure that you grab a copy of my ebook. Help me to meet my goal of selling at least one copy every single day. If you appreciate my content, it would mean the world to me. It's about the price of an expensive cup of Starbucks coffee, but it means the world to me. Every single purchase, I literally look at it and I feel so grateful in my heart. So thank you so much for your awesome support. And with that being said, guys, we're going to wrap it up for today. Thank you so much for everything you do. Make sure to roll some D100s for me at your next game, and I will see you awesome people on the next one.